Fibroids are very common. Can they stop you from getting pregnant? No. The first thing you want to do when you decide to have a baby, you want to go see the doctor, right? If you have fibroids, talk to your doctor about where exactly your fibroids are located, because the location of the fibroids are going to determine how much it affects your fertility. For me, when I was pregnant, I had a fibroid in a place that did affect my fertility. For whatever reason, it was blocking where the nutrients were supposed to go to my fetus. So whatever I was eating or whatever, like the fibroid was basically sucking up anything. And unfortunately, the fetus couldn't survive. So I had to have a myomectomy to have it actually removed. The con of that was just because it was removed doesn't mean, I wouldn't have any fibroids for the rest of my life. It means it wouldn't grow back at that spot. Once you have fibroids, they tend to kind of, continue to grow. Ugh. Struggle, sisters, I know. But what I ended up doing to combat that and prepare the body for pregnancy the next time was I did Yoni steam and I drank teas, and I had to watch a lot of my diet because fibroids feed off of things. They feed off of things like sugar, and I had PCOS. So sugar was already impacting my womb. I had sugar issues. I was pre-diabetic. And of course, I had fibroids. And so what I did was I Yoni steamed. I drank a lot more herbal teas. I cut down the sugar, even the types of sugar I would have to add into my teas. I kind of had I had a low glycemic agave. That's what I had. And that helped a whole lot. And I remember about a couple years after my myomectomy, they told me that they saw 2 small fibroids. And I was like, fibroids made me too nervous, and I really worked on trying to make sure that I didn't get them again. So I worked extremely hard on dieting. It wasn't perfect, but I did cut down a lot of my carbs. I try to keep it brown like me. So if I wanted to have a bread, I'd have wheat bread. If I wanted rice, I have brown rice, things like that. And even that in itself, I cut down quite a bit. So if I was going to have carbs, it was very limited, very limited. My body doesn't digest carbs well anyway. And particularly women who have PCOS and are pre-diabetic, just the way the carbs break down our bodies isn't great. So my suggestion for you ladies who want to have a baby and you have fibroids is get the ultrasound to see exactly where they are. Now, let's say they're not in a place that would impact your pregnancy, like they're far enough away from the uterus, right? And it's still a concern of yours because, again, they can grow. They can grow. One thing I would absolutely do is take a look at your diet. How are you feeding this fibroid? Yes, they are fed. They're fed by whatever we eat. So if we're feeding it with different types of sugar, like you eat out a lot, you may want to cut all the way back because you don't want that fibroid to grow. When I was pregnant with RTs, I had gotten rid of, I think I had 3 fibroids. Only 1 was left. 1. And let me tell you, throughout the whole pregnancy, it's like they watched the baby and they watched that fibroid, that 1 fibroid. I remember I was at an ultrasound one day, and let me just tell you, I was so irritated because I'm like, okay, you're telling me the baby's doing well. Hold on, we need to take a look at the fibroid. It was like I was growing 2 people, but the fibroid didn't grow. Thank God. The baby grew. Yay. The fibroid did not, but they watched it so closely. I would watch them scan it and everything, compare notes, and I had to have a specialist. It was so much drama. So if you can prepare the body for pregnancy and try to shrink them to a point of elimination, I would. Exercise also helps with it as well. Exercise helps with shrinking the fibroids, managing womb health, because again, you're not feeding it to the point where it's growing. When you're working out, you want to do exercises that are not overly strenuous, because if your cortisone levels, is it cortisone? Yeah, go through the roof, it can stress your body. And again, stress the body, those fibroids can multiply. So you want to make sure you do exercises that help the womb. There's a girl on Instagram and on TikTok, and I've talked to her. She's very cool. She's called Fibroid Queen. She has specific workouts to help eliminate fibroids and a diet plan, so you want to check her out. I also have interviewed on the Womanhood is Ghetto podcast amazing Latoya. She talked about her whole fibroid journey, why you have to pay attention to your fibroids, how to advocate for yourself as a woman who has fibroids. And this is if you want to get pregnant, if you have fibroids in general, all that stuff. So managing your fibroids is critical for your womb health, because fibroids can not just affect your womb, it can affect your whole entire body. My interview with Latoya is on the Womanhood is Ghetto podcast, and I would absolutely check that out, because girl, like the stuff that she went through with her fibroids is no joke. And I'm still pissed that I had a myomectomy only to have to stress out over a fibroid when I'm pregnant with my kid again. And it's just, fibroids can be super complicated, but they can be eliminated, they can shrink, and you can still absolutely have a baby. Very, very simple. Well, not simple, but like it is doable. If your doctor suggests surgery before you get pregnant, ask why and ask for alternatives. Sometimes there's hormone therapy, or there's something called a UAE. And what the UAE does is it like blocks the fibroid from getting any nutrients or blood. It helps shrink it. It doesn't help it grow, like things like that. It'll help you not grow the fibroid that can be problematic to your pregnancy. I'd ask the doctor about that. It's called a UAE. Ask them about that. Another problem with fibroids in pregnancy is it depends on how many you have in your womb. Sometimes it is on the part of the uterus that could affect the implantation of the egg. So if you have a fibroid where the eggs should be implanted, then you can't get pregnant. It's not going to happen. It's very problematic. So my suggestion is, again, talk to your doctor about where it is and see how you can eliminate it naturally before you go the surgery route. The reason for that is I'm hesitant with the surgery route is because if it's like where like lining of the uterus is, where implantation would normally happen, last thing you want to do is mess around with that area, particularly because if that's where the egg's supposed to go and something goes wrong via surgery, you do not want to have that issue and have to go through like another way of getting pregnant, like in vitro, for example, because that can be really pricey. So figure out where it is and understand that sometimes fibroids are in places in the womb that can prevent you even getting pregnant. And then if you do get pregnant, again, they follows you with the whole pregnancy, and it's just an extra stress you just don't want to have. My journey with fibroids was interesting because, again, it started way back like 10 years ago, and I found out I had just one fibroid, and the one fibroid was, I think it was like 4 centimeters. Those are big red flags to doctors because they tend to grow along with the pregnancy and it can cause issues. Again, I already said that it was taking away nutrients from my fetus, which meant I never made it out the first trimester. Some women who have fibroids, again, it can actually move from outside of your womb. It can cause blood clots. It can cause inflammation. Some women have so many fibroids in their stomach that they actually already look pregnant. So your doctor may suggest a myomectomy, and I had one. Again, pros and cons of that, because you have to be aware of where the fibroid is, how many you have, and sometimes if there are way too many, they may actually even suggest a hysterectomy, which means pregnancy's all out. It's off the table altogether. But if your fibroids are small enough, Yoni steaming can absolutely help shrink them. Certain exercises also help shrink them. Certain diets also help shrink them to elimination. Not shrink them to be so small that they can grow back. What's the point, right? But shrink them to elimination. So my ladies who have fibroids, no worries. You still can have a baby. There's just a couple extra steps you need to take, but that's okay. You're going to hold your little one and it's going to be all good. Some of my ladies have had fibroids, have babies, and they continue to have fibroids. That's also okay, as long as they're manageable. But if you are in the pre-pregnancy phase, take some of those little steps. Like I said, changing your diet, starving them out by cutting down the sugar. Some of the sugar is in simple things like drinks, right? If you drink coffee, can you get sugar-free creamer? I do that. And it's from Starbucks. They sell it at the grocery store, sugar-free creamer. Certain drinks like juices, even if it's like low sugar, can you get used to no sugar? Ginger ale has no sugar. That's the one I have, and it's fine. I promise you get used to the low sugar, no sugar diet. I promise you. It's not easy, but you can. Also, if you are a drinker, one thing you want to consider are alcoholic beverages like martinis, full of sugar. I used to drink the Serrano. Oh, I would just drink it just straight. Full of sugar. Tequila? Try tequila. And again, make sure you take some vitamins. Vitamins are also critical in helping to make sure that your body is preparing itself for pregnancy. The vitamins do not shrink your fibroids, okay? Just want to be very clear with that. I get that question sometimes, but they don't shrink fibroids. But it does help the body create a healthier space for your growing womb. And as you are eliminating certain things out of your diet, like the sugar, the caffeine, alcohol, beverages, sugary drinks, that type of stuff, you want to make sure you replenish your body with things that are healthy so that your womb is ready to carry full term. If you want to try Yoni steaming, check out the Yoni Mack website. I have a specific steam that helps eliminate and shrink fibroids. It's not simple, but it is doable. You can still have your baby, my ladies, with fibroids. Just be aware that it can be a process, but it's something that you need to commit to if you want to hold your baby, and you will, and you can. If any of you had any fibroid journeys, let me know. And check out LaToya's journey on the Womanhood is Ghetto podcast. Check out Phyllis, Fibroid Queen, on Instagram. I think her website is called fibroidqueen.com. I'll put the information down there. And she's also on TikTok. Let me know. Baby does.